Assalamu alaikum and good evening. Shudhi Darshak Mandali, welcome back to our show, Politics and Beyond. এখানে আমরা নিত্যনৈমিত্য পলিটিক্স সম্বন্ধে আলাপ করে থাকি এবং পলিটিক্সে আপনাকে কিভাবে আপনার জীবনকে কিভাবে সুন্দর করতে পারে বা আপনার কিভাবে ক্ষতি করতে পারে এবং আপনি কিভাবে পলিটিক্সকে সুন্দরভাবে সাজিয়ে তুলতে পারেন এবং সেটার প্রতি আপনার কন্ট্রিবিউশন কিভাবে করতে পারেন এইসব জিনিসপত্র নিয়েই কথাবার্তা নিয়ে আমাদের এই অনুষ্ঠান। আজকে আমাদের সাথে অন্যান্য দিনের মতো আজকে আমাদের সাথে গণ্যমান্য ব্যক্তিত্ব আছেন এবং আজকে আমাদের সাথে আছেন আমাদের অ্যাসেম্বলি মেম্বার যে নাকি আমাদের ইস্ট লন্ডনকে রিপ্রেজেন্ট করে গ্রেটার লন্ডন অথরিটিতে, যেটা নাকি বরিস জনসন যেটার মেয়র টোটাল লন্ডনের, ওটার একটা অংশ হচ্ছে আমাদের ইস্ট লন্ডন। সেই ইস্ট লন্ডনকে রিপ্রেজেন্ট করে আমাদের জন বিগস। উনি আগে আমাদের টাওয়ার হ্যামলেটসের এক সময় কাউন্সিলর ছিলেন, লিডার ছিলেন এবং পরবর্তীতে উনি অ্যাসেম্বলিতে চলে যান। বর্তমানে উনি আবার টাওয়ার হ্যামলেটসে মেয়র প্রার্থী। উনি আমাদের সাথে আজকে এখানে আছেন। তার জন্য আমরা আজকের প্রোগ্রামটা কিছুটা ইংলিশ কিছুটা বাংলার মাধ্যমে আমরা এই প্রোগ্রামটা সাজিয়ে তুলব। জন, ওয়েলকাম টু আওয়ার শো।
Well, thank you, and thanks for inviting me onto your show. I want to meet as many people as possible in the next few months, and TV is a very good way of doing that.
Hopefully, you can meet all the viewers tonight through the lens.
Yeah. So good evening.
আমাদের সাথে আরও আছেন, আমাদের অনেকে আপনারা চিনেন, অবশ্যই চিনবেন আমাদের শ্রদ্ধেয় সিরাজ ভাই, সিরাজুল ইসলাম। উনি বর্তমানে লেবার গ্রুপের লিডার কাউন্সিলে এবং আগেও উনি বিভিন্ন পোস্টে ছিলেন এবং ডেপুটি লিডার হিসেবে ছিলেন এবং উনি আমাদের সাথে আজকে এখানে আছেন। Assalamu alaikum, Shiraz bhai.
Assalamu alaikum, Ahmed bhai. Delighted to be here. Thank you for inviting me and John to be on your program.
Thank you for coming with a short notice. আমি জানি আপনার মিটিং ছিল, so I really appreciate it. শুধু দর্শক মণ্ডলী, আমাদের প্রোগ্রামে যাওয়ার আগে আমরা এটা না বললেই না যে আমরা বর্তমান যে মেয়র লুৎফর রহমান সাহেব, ওনাকে আমরা বিগত কয়েক মাস ধরে চেষ্টা করছি যে আমাদের অনুষ্ঠানে আসার জন্য। বিগত এক অনুষ্ঠানে উনি ওনার অ্যাসিস্ট্যান্ট, যার নাম নাকি নাসিমা, উনি আমাদের সাথে অনেক ইমেলে যোগাযোগ করছেন এবং বিভিন্ন কোয়েশ্চেন করছেন, কে আসবে, কি হবে, কি কোয়েশ্চেন করবেন, সবগুলির উত্তর দেওয়া সত্ত্বেও উনি আমাদের এই প্রোগ্রামে আসেননি। আজকের এই অনুষ্ঠানেও আমরা ওনাকে ডেকেছিলাম যে আপনি আসেন, আমাদের সাথে বসেন এবং জন বিগসও আসবে, তাদের সাথেও কথা বলেন, বা আপনি একলাও যদি আসতে চান একলাও আসতে পারেন যদি আপনি এই প্রোগ্রামের মাধ্যমে কিছু বলতে চান, বাট হি রিফিউজ টু আনসার মাই ইমেলস। সো আনফর্চুনেটলি আই থিঙ্ক ইট ইজ হিজ লস, বাট আমরা ওনাকে ছাড়াই অনুষ্ঠানটা করে যাব এবং আই হ্যাভ দ্য প্রুফ যে আমরা তাকে ইমেল করছি এবং বিভিন্ন সময় তাকে ডাকা হয়েছে, বাট he's refused to answer our emails. Well, without any ado, আমি অনুষ্ঠানের মধ্য অংশে যাওয়ার আগে আমি আমাদের গত সপ্তাহ লাস্ট অনুষ্ঠানে যে আমাদের কুইজটা ছিল সেটা ছিল when Mandela was elected as a president. সেটার আমাদের প্রচুর উত্তর আসছে। The answer is he was elected as a president in 1994 এবং আপনার সেটারই উত্তরের আমরা ড্র করব এবং I'll ask John to pull out a winner. Do you want to?
Okay. Woo, I need my glasses. This is Hassan Habib Sabah from Coventry. Is that right? Read that.
I'll read it again. Yes, it is Hassan Habib Coventry. আমরা আপনার পুরস্কার আপনাকে পৌঁছে দেব ইনশাআল্লাহ।
Well done. Good.
আমাদের এই প্রোগ্রামে আমাদের আজকের যেই কুইজ সেটা হচ্ছে when was the Greater London Authority, which is the GLA, যেখানে নাকি জন বিগস আমাদেরকে রিপ্রেজেন্ট করে এবং বরিস জনসন ইজ দ্য মেয়র, সেটা কবে গঠন করা হয়েছিল? when was it created? 1998, 2000 or 2002? আপনারা স্ক্রিনে এটা একটু পরে আসবে এবং আপনারা এটা ইমেল করবেন আমাদের ইমেলে pnb@channelieurope.tv। আপনারা অনুষ্ঠান দেখতে থাকেন এবং আপনার স্ক্রিনের মধ্যে একটু পরেই এই কোয়েশ্চেন এবং কোথায় আপনি ইমেল করতে পারবেন সেগুলি সবই আসবে। So
if anyone wants to share the prize with me, I'll tell them the answer.
so if anybody knows John's personal number or the number to the assembly, do not call him for this answer.
Terms and conditions apply.
Yeah, so if we get to know it, you'll be disqualified.
Right.
John, thank you again for coming in, and congratulations on your succeeding on the mayoral nominee from the Labour Party.
Thank you, sir.
On this segment, what we do is we ask a political opinion. So, anybody from the panel would give us a highlight. What would be your political highlight for the last week or over the holidays?
Okay, you tipped me off that you'd ask this question, so I've got two highlights. The first one is in my job at City Hall. I'm there to look after all the people of London. Big highlight this week was 10 fire stations in London closing, including the one in Bow, and including the one in Whitechapel losing one of its 2 fire engines. And what we think from the Labour side at City Hall, and indeed from the Liberal and the Green sides at City Hall, is that this makes London less safe. We've got lots of development, lots of tall buildings, and the time it will take for a fire engine to reach your home if you live in Bow is longer, and the number of appliances that are available to deal with fires is reduced as well. But my more local highlight, so that's a big deal for people locally. We think the council could have done more to fight it, but Boris Johnson has carried out this decision. The more local one is about Whitechapel and the town centre plans for Whitechapel. Now, the current mayor, Lutfur Rahman, is talking about a major regeneration of Whitechapel town centre, and that may have some good benefits around the new London hospital. Big problem is we've been hearing from small businesses in the area that they're going to be driven out by the increased rents in the area. They went to see the mayor last year. He seems to have done very little about this, and so we would argue that the character of Whitechapel depends on having lots of local small businesses there. That's what defines Whitechapel. If we have a redevelopment of Whitechapel which just squeezes them all out and replaces them with chain stores, that would be a very bad move. I've been working at City Hall to try to make sure that it's not as bad as this, and we've made some success, but nevertheless there are people facing eviction, and we think that the mayor should have seen this coming and should have planned better for it.
Right, okay. Usually we take one, but for you we'll take 2.
Okay, thank you, that's very kind of you.
Shiraz bhai, the fire stations, as John has highlighted, the fire stations has been, from Town Hall, City Hall, 10 fire stations has been taken up. How many would that be in Tower Hamlets?
Well, as John said earlier on, in Tower Hamlets, Bow fire station completely closed, so that there is no Bow fire station. One appliance from Whitechapel fire station been reduced as well, so it's a big impact in Tower Hamlets. And when you talk about highlight, I don't know whether that's a highlight. Positive is a negative highlight, if you like. Losing a fire station in an area like Tower Hamlets, where we have densely populated sort of borough with high-rise development, etc., is devastating. Over last summer, we lobbied with petitions, we campaigned Boris Johnson, but
in terms of numbers, you probably don't have it with you, but it's just that on top of your head, how many fire stations do you think that we currently have, and how many we're going to lose?
Well, we currently have the Bethnal Green one. We still have the Shadwell one.
We have a Millwall
one. So we've got three fire stations. So both closed down, so that's one loss. And the Whitechapel one appliance has been reduced. So what we're saying is, in the response time, so if somebody calls a fire engine to come because of a fire or whatever, the response time will increase to 7 minutes, which is an increase from the current 4 minutes.
Sure.
So that 1 minute could be a matter of life and death, if you like. একটা আগুন লাগলে একটা গরো 1 মিনিট হইল গিয়ে একেবারে মারাত্মক। 1 মিনিটের ভিতরে যে কোনো জিনিস হইতে পারে। ফায়ার খুব rapidly increase হয়।
John, you don't mind us talking in Bengali at time to time, do you? After
slowly learning.
After যেটা আমরা তিনটা ফায়ার স্টেশন তো কইরা নানি, Millwall, Bethnal Green Bow, Shadwell, and is it Bethnal Green, you said?
In Bethnal Green Roman Road.
So আপনি যদি in terms of সপ্তাহ বন্ধ হয় না, so একটা যদি বন্ধ হয়ে যায়, so it's 1/3, নানি 1/4 বন্ধ হয়ে যায়। আরো তিনটা তো অ্যাক্টিভ আছে, তিনটা কি কভার করতে পারে না?
তিনটা কভার করতে পারবো না, কারণ যেটা ব্যাপার হইল কি যে রেসপন্স টাইমটা বাড়ি যায়।
আচ্ছা।
আর টাওয়ার আমরা যেটা হইল কি আপনি অন্য যে আউটার লন্ডন বাড়াতে যান, ইনার লন্ডন বাড়ার সমস্যা আছে, ওই যে হাই রাইজ ডেভেলপমেন্ট আছে, উচ্চা বিল্ডিং আছে, রোড নারো রোড আছে, ট্রাফিক কনজেশন, এইগুলা ম্যানেজ করে একটা ফায়ার ইঞ্জিন আইতে সময় লাগে।
আচ্ছা। সময় লাগে, যখন যত স্টেশন তো বেশি থাকে তখন রেসপন্স টাইমটা বেশি কুইকার থাকে। কিন্তু আপনার এখন যে নতুন বিল্ডিং যেগুলি হয় না, এগুলি তো ওয়েল ইকুইপড, যে এগুলি দে ক্যান সাম অফ দেম ক্যান ইভেন fight their own battles. So আপনি তো লাগে কইরা ওটাও তো দেখতে হইব না যে মনে হয় তারা ওটাও চিন্তা করে যে যেগুলি এখন ফায়ার প্রিভেন্ট করতে পারে তো আর ফায়ার স্টেশন দুই একটা বন্ধ করলে অসুবিধা
কিন্তু এটা যে একটা কোয়েশ্চেন যেটা হইল কি আহমদ ভাই গরিবেরও সমস্যা সব সময় গরিবও জ্বলে হ্যাঁ ধনী জ্বলে না ধনীর যে বিল্ডিং আপনি যেগুলা কইরা এগুলা সব ইকুইপমেন্ট আছে ইকুইপড আছে এরা বেশি সমস্যা হইবে না সমস্যা হইল যে গরিবের
আচ্ছা let me bring in John in terms of what Shiraz Bhai is saying is basically the poors get burned first in terms of this kind of in terms of these kind of cuts. But the modern buildings, as you would know, they are well equipped itself. You have to have the fire authority involved and things like that. I understand what you might want to talk about the existing blocks and things like that. But in modern days, you know, as Obama said to his opponent in the election, that in modern days you don't go out in your horse and your swords. There's modern way of battling.
You're quite right. The world has changed, and so fire technology has changed as well. The fire service nowadays does a lot more preventative work. So they visit elderly people in their homes. The evidence is that older people sometimes forget they've left their cooker on or something, and it's about putting smoke detectors in, about inspecting schools and other premises. So there's a lot of preventative work. But the fact is that I think it was about 4 years ago we lost a fire engine from Bethnal Green. I wasn't happy with that, but I recognised that London had changed. But when we did that, we took the view that that was enough. That Tower Hamlets is growing very quickly, thousands of new homes in the borough. As Shiraz has said, if you live in Bow, you're going to have to wait twice as long for a fire engine to come. If you're in a high-rise building without an easy way to get out, then that makes a difference. That makes a big difference in terms of your safety. So we think that's the wrong decision. Doesn't mean the world can't change, but it does mean that this is the wrong decision at this time. And there's a bigger question about public services, which is people, particularly people in the East End of London, need good public services, whether it's the health service, the police service, the fire service. We need to have good public services to keep us safe and to provide us with to meet our needs. And the current government is cutting those. Now, it may be in a separate life you have a slightly different position politically from me on that, but you're presenting this show. But we think, and the Labour Party thinks, that we need to have high-quality public services for local people, and I will fight with every ounce of energy in my body to protect those services.
No, I appreciate that, John. The thing that I maybe you can enlighten me on this. Basically, the way I understand is that these days interboroughs also work together.
Oh, yeah.
So if it's East London, we would expect Hackney, Newham,
well, you're quite
Tower
right.
Hamlets
Well,
to
okay.
to
I'm
to
very
do it.
pleased you asked me that.
So in that respect, because you look after this sector, that's why the answer I would get properly from you. The sector is that I'm talking. You're saying about the Bow. So the Bow nearest to Newham, if their station is closer, wouldn't they come out, or would it have to be?
No, it doesn't have to be within Tower Hamlets. You're quite right, but it happens that a fire station is also closed in Newham, the one at Silvertown, which is down near the river, so not close to Bow, and the one in Haggerston, just over the border in Hackney, has closed as well. So around us, we've seen a big loss of fire engine cover in East London. We think that's a big deal. I'd much rather talk about Whitechapel Town Centre, because I think that's something that strikes to the heart.
Let's come to the Whitechapel Town Centre. The Whitechapel Town Centre, the centre. As you said, is going to be developed, and but you also are worried about the businesses that's going to be lost, and the rents that are going to be hiked up. I'm assuming that with this kind of a major development or redevelopment, it's onus to the council to discuss with the stakeholders.
Absolutely.
And then take that on board. Do you think that that's not been taken on board?
Well, the Mayor has done a master plan. Mayor Rahman has done a master plan for the Whitechapel area, and there was a short consultation on it, but I don't think people have understood quite the impact it will have on the area. There's a number of things he plans to do. And I mean, I'd agree that if the area becomes more successful and more people visit there, then the shopkeepers probably can afford a higher rent because they'll be making more money out of their businesses. But people haven't been taken through this. And the other point, which is really important, is that Whitechapel, the character of Whitechapel, depends on the role the local community has in it. The market there may be a bit messy, but it's a real heart in the local community. It's where you can buy your veg, where you can buy your fish, and so on.
Do you think there's
and the shops there need to fit alongside that?
Do you think there's a wanting of creating that as a conservation area?
A lot of the buildings are protected, so they're not going to be pulled down and replaced by glass skyscrapers. But the rents will go up, and the master planners, the landlords, will try to squeeze higher rents out of them, and they will force local businesses out. What I think a thoughtful mayor would do, and this is what I would do if I become mayor, is look at the master plan and say, we don't mind changing Whitechapel, but we want to make sure that local people benefit from that change. So local people, many local people set up businesses, make sure they still have affordable places, and that they can be supported in getting grants to improve their premises, and that they can make a good living for themselves and for their families and for our community. We don't want it to be like any other high street in London.
I can understand what you're saying, because I had people with similar experiences on a low key, and one of the things, Shiraz, you would know, in Mile and East, you know, where just behind St. Clement's, where they redeveloped, and the small shops, the odd groceries had to go because they can't afford the rents in the front of the road, which then Tesco took over. It's a big, massive Tesco now, but on the back of small businesses, there was about 5 and a pharmacy, and you know, a small centre. All is gone now, and it's now a big Tesco. So I could understand that. But Shiraz, you're in the council at the moment. From your point of view, how could this be prevented? That make sure that if it's redeveloped, that it's done properly. You can answer in Bengali should you wish to.
Yeah, well, I think like John said, I mean, you know, you need somebody responsible in leadership to have the vision, if you like. So as John said, you know, if he's mayor, he'll look at the whole event package again to see how we can protect small businesses. I think small businesses in Whitechapel Market is in my ward, by the way. Yeah. In my ward, but many people who run small businesses, the vegetable shop, the butcher shop, the fish shop, you know, they're all local people, and this is their livelihood. তারা এখানে তারা কাজ করেন, এখানে ছোটমোটো বেতন নেন, এখানে ব্যবসা করি, এটা very important তারা লাগিয়া।
I think it also has a knock-on effect, কারণ আমি আপনার যখন শপিং করি নানি, যেটা আমি 1 pound-এ পাইলাম, এটা তো বাদে আমি I won't get it in 1 pound, because if the rent is high, then I'll probably have to plug in a bit more. So it will affect you and I.
You see, there's nothing wrong with supermarkets in the right place. In fact, the Sainsbury's at Whitechapel has helped to lift up that area. The street market really benefited from having the supermarket there, but they work alongside each other. But there are many other places in East London and beyond where you get a Tesco Metro or a Sainsbury's local store, and it squeezes out the local businesses. And yeah, they have their place, but I think it's always been the case in East London that it's provided both an opportunity for people to set up their own business, but also the specialist grocery that different communities need.
Is it more driven by the land price, that it's in the very close to the city, and it's right opposite Royal London Hospital, and the price could be right?
And a lot of traders will tell you that the Sainsbury's local stores and the Tesco local stores, they get their goods and they sell them at a discount, sometimes at a loss. Because they're trying to squeeze the market share in the area.
So the small businesses are actually making an effort to make sure those large ones squeeze in. John, we have to go on break.
Okay.
And before I do, I'm just going to remind about the quiz, and then we'll come back to it. Yeah. Okay. শুধু দর্শক মণ্ডলী, আমরা একটা কুইজে আমরা ব্রেকে যাব, তার আগে আপনাদেরকে কুইজেরটা আমরা রিমাইন্ড করে দিচ্ছি, যে কুইজটা হচ্ছে when was the Greater London Authority created? 1998, 2000, 2002. এই সেগমেন্টে আপনারা দেখলেন যে আমরা একটা পলিটিক্যাল অপিনিয়নের আলাপ করলাম। এর মধ্যে জন কোয়াইট রাইটলি হাইলাইট করছে দ্য ফায়ার স্টেশনস অ্যান্ড অলসো মোস্ট এফেক্টিভলি যেটা আমাদের ভেরি লোকাল হোয়াইটচ্যাপেল এরিয়া, অ্যান্ড হোয়াইটচ্যাপেলে যদি কোনো রিডেভেলপমেন্ট হয় এবং যদি আপনার কোনো নতুন দোকান আসে, সেগুলির দাম অনেক বেশি হবে এবং আমার আপনারও পকেটে এটা এফেক্ট করবে। On this note, if the mayor is watching, we would ask him to come and justify this on this TV, on this channel, in this show, that how he portrays to keep our purses in place at the same rate as it's going, and how he would help the small businesses in the area. Thank you very much. আপনারা দেখতে থাকেন, আমরা ব্রেকে যাচ্ছি, এসে আমরা আবার আপনার সাথে আলাপ করব।